What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. I guess Mr. Taco Meat Cincinnati Robinson today, and I'm joined by the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Cheeps, how we doing, buddy?
Meat Cincinnati, huh? That's I don't know about that one. No, you.
I'm also Mr. Texanati, whichever.
Cincinnati. All right, we'll get in that off camera. I don't know what that means, but I'm okay, man. It's
because I'm the technology guy on this side. You know what? Okay, whatever.
Don't say that word.
Cincinnati podcast dad. We said the word, but you invoked the wrath of Tuesday already, so miss me with that.
You said it. You said it. You froze and you said it.
We started a little hot today. Let's just.
I'm fine.
To be fair, you started it though, making fun of my attire choice for the evening. Anyway, how are you?
Yeah, this is a PG show. Nobody wants to see all that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's my show.
It's our show. Now,
yes.
Yeah, here it comes. Here we go. And the truth comes out.
What? Anyway, how are you, buddy?
I'm very tired, but happy to be on the show with you. We're going to talk some AEW. I thought a really good episode of Dynamite last night, and ready to dive into it. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. As always, hit that QR code in the top left corner. Like, share, subscribe. Help us to get those numbers up. We really want more people to watch this show. Let's be honest. Like, I mean, at this point, I think it's just an appeal of like, hey, we like making the show. People should watch it.
We're going to keep making the show. So keep telling your friends.
Damn right. I'm not going
to tell your friends.
We're on the march to 100 episodes, bud. This is episode 64. 36 away.
Wow, that's
like we can get to 100 episodes by the end of the year.
It's kind of crazy. We're doing the 64th episode.
Ain't it
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
That's all right. You said that this was a good episode of Dynamite. Yes. Let's break it down. As always, we're not going to get into every single particular match result. That's what the ticker is for. We just want to get into some of the big takeaways from the night. And I'm going to kind of let you drive the car here for most of the show because I did watch most of the first hour, but On Demand was not available yet today. And as we know that, podcast dad and Mr. Cincinnati live very, very distinct social
different lives. That's okay, though. That's what makes it great.
Extremely. No, it's fine.
So I want to go right off the top. I want to talk about the ending because I really enjoyed the ending.
Okay.
So
yeah,
Jay White beat Briscoe in what was a really good match. The crowd was really behind Briscoe, which was kind of crazy considering he hasn't been on TV in God knows how long. So I'd like to see more Mark Briscoe on the television. That would be awesome. But MJF comes out, chases Jay White off. Jay White still got the belt, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. We cut backstage. The Acclaimed are getting attacked by the Devil Masks. MJF runs to the back and is like just besides himself because he's like, this is not good. And then Samoa Joe walks by, laughs, and they cut the feed. Really, really good ending, I thought.
Interesting. So I want to. You said the word masks, plural. So are we saying that there were multiple people wearing the double masks this time doing the attacking?
I'm trying to think. It was the same group. I don't know. Were they all wearing the devil mask originally?
That's the thing. I don't remember. I just remember there was a lot of focus on just.
Well, the one guy was there again. Okay. The real prominent devil mask was there again. I can't remember if all the rest of them were. That's my fault. I'm sorry. But yeah, the group of people were there, and the Acclaimed were attacked. They threw Bowens through a glass window, which was, I don't think it was real glass. Shout out to you, Jack Perry. But it was quite.
And I guarantee Bones didn't cry about it either.
It was quite a scene.
Yeah, it was
quite a scene. And I like that AEW is doing a lot of storytelling here as of late with MJF. I think this has been much better than the buddy cop movie we got. And that's me being completely honest. And that might be a hot take, and I'm sorry, but I've thoroughly enjoyed this story, this more wrestling type story and this mystery and this intrigue, rather than him and Adam Cole being best friends kind of dynamic. While I thought it was good, I'm just enjoying this one better.
And that's perfectly fair. I think that, there's a lot to unpack kind of within your initial thoughts here, because a lot of why people were so initially drawn to AEW in the first place were the fact that there was an emphasis on what's going on in the ring as opposed to and what was it? And this is I'm taking a line from a magazine that I read probably 25 years ago at this point.
A magazine. Wow.
And it was
Way
very
to date yourself.
Yeah, that's fine. You say that like I actually give two about what I just said.
I was I was a proud subscriber to the WWE magazine.
Yeah, and this was World of Wrestling magazine, and I remember there being an article. It was literally entitled "Too Much Soap, Not Enough Rope," and I think that that's what a lot of AEW fans they enjoy the in-ring aspect. That's kind of what they wanted. They grew tired of the sports entertainmentness of professional wrestling because WWE was the only game in town. However, there is a need for that storytelling and intrigue in all forms of wrestling. It doesn't necessarily need to dominate what you do or how you present your product, but this has been something for people to sink their teeth into. And when it comes to MJF, let's be honest, we enjoyed the initial pairing of Adam Cole, MJF. This injury just boo-fooed them terribly, and they're playing from behind and trying to figure out what's next for them. So, excuse me, I give them credit for trying to find a way to rebound and make MJF again the focal point as the world champion, for this show. It's just a matter of now we're at, okay, Adam Cole's hurt. It sucks. It is what it is. The show still has to go on. I don't necessarily think that they needed to slot in another just new friend and kind of try to keep the same pacing. That feels like a lot of what they have done here because, alternate universe, let's say that Adam Cole does not get hurt jumping off of that platform. And this is probably an argument for why they are not going to set that shit up again. Let's be honest.
Maybe. Wrestling companies tend to not learn from past mistakes, kind of. It's just that we're going to do it and we're going to do it better kind of thing. So I will say maybe on that just because of egos.
That's fine. We're probably going to add Billy Corgan to that list before 2024 is over anyway. Wow. So anyway,
he's kind of put his foot in his mouth more than a few times now.
And we'll get back to that. But so I mean, again, let's take the Acclaimed out of this. If Adam Cole wasn't hurt, you have to imagine it'd be him going through that glass at this point in time right now, right?
I don't know if this is the story. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they've just sped up this story. I don't know if Adam Cole's the one going through the glass. I think it's maybe we are still doing that buddy cop thing, and we're seeing the slight turns and, kind of like Mello and Trick right now. We're seeing the facial expressions and we're seeing the small details. I think that is what they would be. And by the way, Mello...
That's much more entertaining.
Mello Trick is much more entertaining than what we got. With Adam Cole and MJF, but we didn't get to see the finish of that story, so I will hold out my criticism of that. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if we get this whole devil angle if Adam Cole's still hurt. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's take this point because we want to start at the end, but we do have to rewind to the beginning of the show. MJF retains against Daniel Garcia. I think we all knew that was going to happen, but you alerted me to something that happened after Keith Lee and Samoa Joe. I was able to watch most of the match, but I didn't really get to hear anything that went on, outside of that. But you did kind of alert me. Yeah, Joe just decides he's just going to drop the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Tell me a little bit about how all of this went down. I'm hearing this first time along with anybody that missed Dynamite last night, and I'm just going to react to it.
Yeah, the MJF Daniel Garcia match, I'll touch on that first. It was fine. Okay. It was random, but, AEW kind of does random matches every once in a while. Maybe we'll get a story with Danny Garcia. Fingers crossed that we actually get something for that guy. I think he's too talented just to be, riding the pine. Yeah, and same thing with Keith Lee. He looked fine. Again, I don't know what, and this is a discussion for probably another time and a debate that we can have, but this is Keith Lee's second major company, and they seem to be dropping the ball again. Is this a Keith Lee problem? Is this a management problem? That's another discussion we could have. Yeah. But yeah, this match was good. I think Samoa Joe's having one of the better runs of his career right now. He beats Keith Lee. After the match, gets on the mic, says, "I'm going after the AEW World Champion." I don't don't need this champion, and says he's vacating the champion. So that's kind of long and short of it. If he's the greatest Ring of Honor television champion of all time, he has nothing else to prove with the title. I'm going to go for the AEW World Title, which is a number of things that's kind of wrong with that, and I'll let you react here in a second. It's why not just drop the title to Keith Lee? I don't think it would have hurt Samoa Joe. B, they were taping Ring of Honor afterwards, so they could have ran an angle on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And C, it just makes, I mean, they have Ring of Honor as a Death Before Dishonor coming up, right?
Yeah. As far as let me Google that real quick. I mean, cause especially with them doing World's End.
It's on what's the name of this? Honor Club. I'm gonna say Fight Club. It's on Honor Club. It's not a paid pay-per-view. So they're trying to boost that subscribers.
Okay.
And give that, and I think that's a direct correlation to, yes, they have another pay-per-view. They're not going to ask me to pay twice in 1 month kind of thing. But if you look at that, you look at Death Before Dishonor coming up, you just lost Samoa Joe on that card. You just lost Hangman and the Young Bucks on that card.
Wait, why?
They're not the 6-man tag team champions anymore.
Oh yeah,
so
that's right.
What's the draw for me at this point?
And it's interesting that we're having this conversation about this, because this goes back to something you and I talked about earlier today off camera. Cultaholic video that I watched, and I mean that title was ROH. Could it be cut? As a way to cut costs, because by all accounts, and I'm not inside in their books, I don't know the ins and outs of the finances of AEW, but it doesn't sound like they're turning a profit right now.
I don't see how.
And eventually, exactly, because they have such a bloated roster, and trying to scoop up whoever they can, because they know that they are in an arms race with WWE. And this could be one of the best free agency years that we have ever tracked in the history of pro wrestling. I mean, there are a lot of major names that are still available. And yes, we saw Mariah May debut last night on Dynamite, and we'll probably get to that a little bit, and I'll let you take the reins on that. But, at this point, and Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics was, this is just kind of a, he's basically, theorizing, like, if they're not turning a profit, they would likely cut Ring of Honor before saying, hey, we're going to do the mass talent releases. Because I would imagine, if I had to guess, Tony Khan does not want to be the guy that has to do mass firings, because that has been their bread and butter, is picking up a lot of those names from when WWE was doing the same thing. Even though he is the son of an owner in one of the most cutthroat businesses of all in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all state for a fact Ring of Honor was a failed experiment. It's a watered down product of what it was. I don't want to. It's not as bad as WWE CW, but it's at least they tried. Like, they put it on TV, and they I would say they tried a little bit more with that. Yeah, I mean, this was just a failed experiment. When you talk about budget cuts, I mean, if you cut Ring of Honor, you're going to have to cut talent, because you're going to have a void. You're not going to have a place for that talent to wrestle. Like, you can't squeeze them all on Dynamite and Collision. And the other point is, if you have this issue about cutting costs, you just had a big contract come off the books in CM Punk. I assume he didn't sign for, a hometown deal. Then why the hell did you sign Edge? Yeah, like,
I mean,
at this point,
if done right, there's a lot of money in an Edge versus Christian feud. There's a lot of money in that feud, I think.
So far, though, it hasn't been the best, has it?
There are things that we both would do differently with that, and we've talked about that. You would have saved the spear for their one-on-one match. I personally said, yeah, you can get to Full Gear without them laying a hand on each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a misstep, but that doesn't one misstep does not make a terrible feud.
No, but I mean, realistically, if you're at this point where, man, we got to start cutting costs, then why the hell are you signing somebody that I guarantee did not take a small contract?
But that's the thing is, I don't necessarily know to say, hey, this is what we absolutely have to do. And I think, I mean, a lot of this, I want to say that anything that I watched today with this Cultaholic video was a grain of salt or anything like that. I think it was more of
Mhm.
just a Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics saying, okay, if, this is a company that he doesn't think is turning a profit right now. And if they are not, it's probably easier to cut Ring of Honor as a whole than do mass talent releases, because even if you, let's just say that they do get rid of Ring of Honor as a whole, they still have 2 hours on Dynamite, they still have 2 hours on Collision, and 1 hour of Rampage. There's still 5 hours of programming every week that they can still use. That, let's be honest, when it comes to Collision, they're certainly not always effectively maximizing that time. Rampage, I don't think that I've watched a single match since the one that we went to live where Jade took her curtain call. So if it comes back to that, does Tony Khan have too much on his plate right now? Does he need a second or a third or somebody to help him say, hey, here's my number 2 on Dynamite, here's my number 2 on Collision, here's somebody that can help out on Rampage as needed? Because even, we've seen WWE attempt the same thing, even though Vince just kind of said, I'm not taking my hands off of this. He still at least one point in time tried to say, all right, well, Bruce, executive director for Raw, Bischoff, ED for SmackDown. Like, I don't know. I mean, because I want so badly for AEW to work, but it is seeming very all over the place in terms of the programming that they present right now.
I mean, that's just face facts. They can't sell weekly shows. That's what it is. Their attendance
No,
is garbage. The Collision ratings are going down, and they're going down fast. That's not
no.
good. Even when you put Omega and MJF on there, you still get a not a great rating, which
It was
is not good.
3-day build.
But I think the last Collision had one of the lowest ratings of a Collision so far, and I don't know. I think a brand split would really, really help. I really do. I think if you make each show must watch for certain people, I think it would work. I don't get to book it. I don't own the company, so that's not my call. If I'm giving advice, that's the advice I would give. Your roster is huge. Put certain talents on exclusive shows. Like I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what
I mean, because I mean that was the initial plan until Phil went and got all boo hooey,
Well,
and
that was Phil's initial plan because he can't work with people. That's what that was. It was a brand split because people can't work together, and that was a whole other issue with
we
Tony
both
Khan.
work with people all the time that we don't want to work with,
Mhm.
and yet, I don't know.
I mean, that's a whole nother issue with Tony Khan about being a boss. Like
Yeah.
that's a debate for another day. But
He's the son of an NFL owner. I just thought he had bigger balls than this. Anyway,
Wow.
sorry.
Wow.
I said what I said.
But again, if they cut Ring of Honor, you're going to see talent released. It is what it is. I don't know about mass, but you're going to see people let go. I mean, that's the cost of doing business.
I mean, it's not the worst time to. Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst time right now to be doing that either. Like, when you think about.
I mean, it's the holidays. It's kind of cutthroat.
I'm thinking from the business standpoint. Let's be honest; they're not doing mass releases before the end of the year. I don't see that happen. I don't see that happening whatsoever.
No, they should do it after All Out.
So miss me with that shit.
Or All In, like WWE does it after WrestleMania.
Wait, like next year?
Like WWE does it after WrestleMania.
Okay.
They kind of that's the start of your new year. Let's look at all of the players on the roster. Let's see, is there fat we can trim? And I know that's a terrible way to say it, and we're talking about people's livelihoods and people's jobs.
It's corporate culture.
But yes, that is business. And if you're trying to run a successful business, you got to make hard decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because let's not forget the fact that yes, they were actively in talks with WBD for a new TV deal, and those conversations just stopped. They said we're not doing this right now. The network said this, not
because of the
AEW.
NBA.
I mean, and that's the thing is because and you would think as wild as it is, because now that Max is adding a live sports section to this, you would think that there would be additional value in AEW as far as a next day run going right to a streaming service, which outside of your traditional cable or TBS network app, you're certainly not getting in a timely manner the next day. And I know that because I tried to watch last night's Dynamite today at 2 in the afternoon and it still wasn't there. So, I mean, that's, we're not inside these boardrooms, and I'm not going to try to act like I know everything that's going on, but it certainly doesn't look good that your parent network wants to stop these negotiations, presumably to see what might come of a new NBA deal.
Yeah.
As they're trying to add a new live sports deal to one of their biggest streaming services.
Well, I mean, it just shows where AEW is in the pecking order, right? And you got WB also kind of sniffing around WWE too. So that's it. It just shows you that as much as we like AEW and as much as we want AEW to work, and as much as I think AEW has been great for the wrestling world, it's clearly the number 2. And if you're arguing with me, you're not looking at the facts. And that's okay. They can be a number 2. It's fine.
Yeah, and that's that, and that's what and I feel like every episode we have to stress this. Look, we're not talking shit about AEW. We enjoy both. I think that we can genuinely say that we do enjoy both shows. We like watching the indie stuff. We like we like watching wrestling. That is what it is. However, I do think that the tribalism that has exploded within the last couple of years when it comes to pro wrestling, and I don't necessarily want to say double standards, but there's a lot of dynamics of, oh well, we hated this about WWE, that's why we went to AEW, but now that AEW is starting to do some WWE type things, like, oh no, this is totally fine if they do that, just miss me.
I like that AEW is doing a little bit more sports entertainment stuff. I do, and because they still put on really good wrestling matches, and that it's okay to have both. I think WWE is doing kind of the same thing right now. They have their storytelling, and then you have really good wrestling matches with a Chad Gable and Gunther match. It's still part of the story, but it's a really good match, and I'm cool with that.
Akira Tozawa being featured prominently on Raw and SmackDown in the same week. Yeah. When has that ever happened?
Yeah. I just, it's just, we'll see what happens. And I don't want to, again, we can have this debate for hours, but
dude, it's our show. We can do whatever
I know, but I want to get back to Dynamite, and I feel like we're kind of going down a rabbit hole, and we need to I would say we need to let things play out before we start making predictions, right? I'm just saying. I know you're fired up and you got your taco meat out. That's great.
Only for you. Only for you.
Yeah, right there.
I look great, I think, personally, but
Did you watch Penta and Swerve?
I did not.
Swerve is on
as good as I expected.
Swerve is on a heater right now. We're talking a lot about character work with Swerve, and I think we can both see that he's being really, really good character work. Dude, his in-ring work is flawless right now. He is one of their top stars, and I really hope this Hangman feud gets him to a world title feud, because I think he would be so good in a world title picture. He's captivating TV. He's a menace. We've said that before. He is like, when he's on, I want to watch. Like, they have a star, and it's almost like that LA Knight thing, right? Like, when are they going to finally get behind him? Now they put him in a big feud. All right, let's get behind him. That match is going to be really, really good. I think it's really personal with Hangman, and
it's going to be a bloodbath.
I'm excited to watch it. Like, I'm really, really like, that's the match on this upcoming card that I'm most excited to see.
Yeah, it might be time to. I mean, we're gonna have to break out the smoker again.
That's fine. We can break. I mean, you can do it.
Yes,
I'm not. Yeah,
you let me be myself.
I'm not doing it.
You got hands?
Not for you, buddy.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, that was bad. That was real bad. The other thing was the contract signing that I know you enjoyed. So why don't you take the ball on that one?
That was the. You're gonna have to refresh my
Tony
memory. I'm
Storm.
sorry. Oh yeah, that. Yeah, no. So I got to watch, or at least I saw it all on a screen. I didn't necessarily get to hear everything, but Tony Storm is just
Another one.
magnificent, flawless, timeless. Like
Swerve.
just
She's that same thing as Swerve right now.
yeah, yeah. That is such a throwback character that only select few can actually pull off, and do competently every week, and then still find something to add to it. And the fact that she's been able to do this entire time has been absolutely astounding. And I need to see her win the title at Full Gear. I have to, And now that Mariah May is also officially here,
Not yet.
I walked off last night. I'll
Not
do
yet.
it again.
Don't give it to her yet. Don't give it to her yet. So they threw out a stat last night. Did you catch that about Sheeta?
You know that I
That she
didn't.
hasn't been pinned or submitted this year. This year.
Yeah, and we still got 50, 60 some
That's
odd days
crazy.
left in the year. Okay. All right. I'll hear you out. Yeah, I mean, okay. I hear you when you say that they shouldn't put it on her. I am Team Tony for multiple reasons that are not even wrestling related. That I'm Team Tony. I could see this being like, this could feed into that golden age of Hollywood kind of, she's this starlet going after, let's just, replace championship with Oscar and has to go on the chase for it. Okay. All right.
No,
Okay.
I want it to keep devolving into just madness. She can get to another level and then finally win the big one. And yes, it looks like
having Mariah May in the fold now is a nice touch.
And Mariah May, was really, really excited when RJ City said she can introduce her to Tony Storm. So that is either like she's going to become like a protege, or, and I heard this on Post Wrestling, maybe like a stalker gimmick, which would be also pretty cool because we haven't seen one of those in a while. Like,
yeah, and I mean, and especially with that, let's think about kind of the big ones as far as fans that have been obsessed. WrestleMania 15, the debut of Tori. Between WrestleMania 21 and 22, we got Mickie James, all this. Now like you said, it has been a while since we've seen this.
Nikki Cross,
and the thing is,
you forget that one.
I forgot about that. I did. Oh, I do. God.
Oops.
I want so much for her.
Sure.
I do.
I want Sanity back.
What?
I miss Sanity.
I loved that too, but there's a certain risk factor that's been filed with the SEC that said that Eric Young was like, nah, no thanks.
That's it. Hey, good for him. He took a stand. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, why not? Nothing wrong with it. I'm happy with it. It's fine.
Overall, I think a really, really good episode of Dynamite. After last week's episode, I think we were kind of down on it. The last thing I want to mention was we're going to get Jericho and Omega versus the Young Bucks at Full Gear.
Why?
Yep. So there was a promo last night where it was a backstage segment. The Young Bucks came up to, what are they called? Le Jets or something? Golden Jets? Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And, the Young Bucks are going, oh, what are we doing? Like, this is stupid. Like, get back to the Elite, that kind of stuff. Kenny was quiet. Jericho cut him off. Jericho and the Bucks are kind of going at it. And then Kenny, goes, okay, if you guys are tired of being whiny little, you can use your imagination there. We can settle this in the ring. And, I've beaten you once with Hangman. I can beat you again. And I don't understand the Jericho Kenny dynamic, like being best friends all of a sudden just to take out Don Callis. But, okay, relax. That was the comment. Relax.
Yeah. What?
I'm
listening to wait. No. Shout out to Mason. He's the homie.
You wanted to pop that up because it was you. I get it. Yeah, I mean,
At least this guy didn't ask to smell me after I jog, like other comments that we've gotten on
that
this
guy,
show.
that guy might be watching because your taco meat's out. Yeah, this like I don't know. I don't know the dynamic. I don't I don't understand the Jericho Omega dynamic. And the Don Callis family just hasn't really been on. Like I don't know if they have a place on Revolution. I'm sure they'll get shoehorned into it somehow.
It's full gear.
Whatever.
It's full gear, but
Whatever.
it does matter. Okay, they've only got like 5 shows a year now. Wait till next year when it's gonna be every month. We're getting the stay tuned for a special announcement. Oh, we got a new show
Pre-sale.
coming.
Any final thoughts, Mr. Taco Meat?
WWE just sends emails.
I think that's a no, guys. Appreciate you listening.
I thought that I looked nice today.
That's just what Eric needs.
I thought. Who says that I've had any today?
You did before the show.
I did not have any shots today before the show. I can confidently say that didn't happen.
That's your left hand.
That was my right hand.
Close the show. You're out of control. You're out of control today.
I don't know about that, but yeah, no, I mean, realistically, we've got 9 days before this pay-per-view is. It's the 18th, right?
Sure. I think so. I think it's November 18th.
Here I am trying to get the show back on track, and you know, you can help me with
button
that.
up your shirt, and I could do it.
I think that this is the appropriate amount of buttons. Okay, leave me alone.
Yes, November 18th is the show.
Guy decides not to wear a wrestling t-shirt, and everybody loses their minds. Okay, yeah. Look, they got 9 days for the show. Like, we both know that we're both going to watch this show. But there's not anything that I'm like, holy shit, I have to order this.
Swerve and Hangman.
We're going to watch it because this is, you know, we get paid exactly $0 to do this job, and we love it, and that's why we're going to watch this show. War Games is still going to be better because I called that was happening. Anyway,
no, I'm looking forward to Swerve and Hangman. I will disagree with you on that one.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, that will be a good match, but I'm certainly not. I'm not clamoring for MJ White or MJF.
MJ White.
I just said I heard that MJ White. Jesus,
is that your gimmick?
All right, maybe it is time to go.
Well, MJ White. All right, this guy.
Okay, maybe it is time to take this home. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's just kind of it's just one of those weeks or these months.
The last kind of parting shot I will give you is the last time we weren't hyped for an AEW pay-per-view. It was one of their best shows all year.
Yes, and when we were severely let down.
Yep. So AEW is going to deliver, I would assume. Whether we're excited for it or not, I think they will deliver. But I think 12 pay-per-views is going to be a grind for them.
God, it's gonna suck.
I think it's going to be tough.
And again, I mean, I know that this is more of another conversation for another time, but originally Warner Brothers is like, hey, we'd love it if you do 12 shows, and they're trying to put that infrastructure in place, and now it's like, oh, sorry, we don't have a TV deal for you right now. But what do I know?
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, if WWE can get something done with the CW and basically once again get another wrestling company off of that network that they're trying to do business with.
NWA did that to themselves.
Well, I'm not saying that they didn't. I'm just saying that, opportunity arose for a network to say, hey, we'd rather have WWE. We've seen that before with them and, the failed TNN deal and all of that. But
again, ECW did that to themselves.
I'm not saying people didn't.
Oh, you know what? Cut it off because we're about to get into wrestling history, and I will die on that hill.
All right, fine, whatever. Thanks so much for watching this episode. Again, hit that QR code, like, share, subscribe. Help us to get those numbers up. If you want to see more of 3-Button Eric in the flannel, let me know. I'm
PBR, sponsor us.
Hit that like button. That'd actually be really cool.
What?
However,
What?
high noon. What up?
What?
Also, go check out Stump the Smart because, we got to mention Steve Austin and Hank Hill in the same sentence. There is a new one that we still need to actually upload to YouTube, and let's just say I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. Well, it's fine. It's fine.
It is. Just you need to get.
It is.
Dude,
Okay.
get your Japan wrestling study on. Come on, Meltzer.
How in the okay? Don't you no, don't compare me. Okay, I want to be Sean Ross Sapp or Nick Houseman.
Take it home, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you so much. All right, yeah, he called me by my actual last name and not my nickname, so he's serious. Thanks so much, guys, for watching this edition of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. Remember, hit that like button, share, subscribe. New episodes of Something Smart coming soon. Got a bunch of great new interviews lined up. Bryce never lost his title. Anything else you need to hear, podcast baby daddy?
I'm good. I'm not your baby daddy.
Okay. You wish. Anyway, thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you soon.